kind of beating from this, but let's kick off the first part of our penultimate episode of Friendship is Magic, the ending of the end. Kind of a redundant title, to say the least. So our episode begins in what seems like to be the coronation of Twilight Sparkle, but we hear a familiar voice give doubt to basically some of the ponies. Yep, and of course we know that pony was actually Chrysalis as we cut to the lair where our trio of villains discuss their new plans and what they've been doing.
Successful field trip, I presume?
Spreading distrust among the unicorns and earth ponies is almost too easy. We could take down Twilight and her friends 100 times, but as long as they have the love of Equestria behind them, they crawl back to defeat us. Not anymore.
No friendship, no magic. It's so obvious when you think about it. I did my part freaking out the Pegasi.
And Grogar's long absence has given me time to prepare the next part of our plan.
So yeah, the villains have actually been pretty busy off screen. Of what we saw the Somerset setback of basically them causing doubt within the ponies that caused that entire distrust amongst each other. They've essentially been doing that for a while, where essentially Cozy Glow has been freaking out the Pegasi, and Chrysalis has been freaking out both the Earth Ponies and the Unicorns, essentially making them paranoid, and Pyrrha, meanwhile, has been studying up on Grogar's bell. So essentially, they basically have to hold hands to essentially share the magic, and essentially they do that where they're able to summon the magic of the Bewitching Bell to essentially make themselves a lot stronger. And by that, essentially what it means is... Essentially, this means we're going to get ourselves a kick-ass finale. We then see the return of Grogar, who has another artifact to come out to get our trio of villains to come out.
With this artifact, but to succeed, you must work together.
Oh, way ahead of you, Grogar.
Yeah, so essentially this is one of those surprise motherfucker moments. But yeah, essentially what we see from this scene, through the powers of the Bewitching Bell, Tyrrha is essentially now back to his full buff 100% power that we saw in Twilight's Kingdom. Cozy Glow has essentially become an alicorn with powerful magic, and Chrysalis really gains some greenish eyes and battle armor, essentially. And I think that's pretty much them saying just like,
hello, I'm evil. I lied.
So they essentially use all their magic to summon the Bewitching Bell, and we now have to talk about the big elephant in the room when it comes to Grogar.
That was unexpected.
So yes, it turns out that Grogar was actually Discord. Now, as far as the twist goes, this is regarded to be one of the most controversial things, where there are some people that are fine with the twist, and I will admit, I didn't really see it coming, but at the same time, it is also rather baffling of why Discord did this in the first place. It basically kind of goes to show that Grogar never existed in the first place, or rather he did because he's a legend, but he wasn't actually real. Now, as for me, because I never finished this season and ended up watching a lot of reviews and clips basically earlier before seeing the full episode, the whole twist ended up getting spoiled for me. However, I think because of the amount of foreshadowing that we got in the beginning of the end, where essentially he made that big poetic speech after Sombron's defeat, it kind of gave us hints. So there was bits of foreshadowing here and there. But as far as this twist goes, I'm kind of mixed about it. I mean, I am disappointed that we don't really get to see Grogar in his fullest forms. I think in this way it actually gives me some kind of an idea. But you're probably wondering why the hell Discord even decided to pull this stunt in the first place. But essentially because the Bewitching Bell was used on him, all of Discord's chaos magic ended up getting sucked up. And why don't our trio of villains decide to go after him?
Grogar? Like the whole time. Should we follow him?
Without magic, he's no threat. Besides, we have a plan.
So yeah, I guess it does kind of make sense considering of what we know in the Discord for 8 out of 9 seasons, how powerful his magic is. He's basically kind of amounts to nothing. We then cut to Canterlot after this surprising turn of events, where essentially we see Celestia and Luna cry over the fact that essentially they really are going through with the plans to retire, but that also means that Twilight and Spike have to move back to Canterlot.
Twilight doesn't need anything else to worry about.
And we do get this little bit of wholesome moment where actually Twilight decides to make Spike an honorary advisor.
What's that? A new position I created for you. You've been at my side for every step of this journey. Knowing I had you to count on gave me the strength I needed to grow and succeed. I wouldn't be here without you.
Thanks, Twilight. You know I'll always be right above Jet.
I was hoping you'd say that, because now that my crown's been fitted, we have some royal errands to run.
Yeah, but then, after that, we then cut to Canterlot, where essentially it becomes kind of a ghost town. We see Fluttershy and Rarity try to get some crops, but there's practically nothing.
Coronation dessert. Maybe they keep their produce in the back? Nope, this is all we got. But I got a special on these taters. No thank you. We'll keep looking.
Yeah, dick. But, and I know it's not right of me to call basically the sales pony the dick, given what we saw what the villains have been planning, but yeah. Essentially throughout town, we see that even when Twilight reunites with Rarity and Fluttershy, there's essentially a lot of paranoia going on around, where we see that Rarity tries to get some thread, but unfortunately the sales pony that runs the textile shop doesn't give it and just throws it outside. And we find out from Rainbow Dash that the Pegasi don't even try to help out because everybody is so freaking paranoid that they don't know what to do with themselves.
They're not the only ones. It's the first shift in royal power in over a millennium. Of course, every pony is a little jumpy. Change?
Yeah, but then it doesn't really get much better when one of the royal guards essentially stalks Applejack and basically watches her like a hawk when all she's doing is just moving apples.
There you are. You mind telling your friend here that I don't need an official guard wherever I go? Especially if he ain't gonna help carry apples?
I appreciate you taking such good care of my friends, but we're fine now.
And even when Twilight tells the guard that, he still eyeballs Applejack. And then we find out that basically the baker pony that basically met up with Chrysalis's pony form essentially caused a food fight, essentially, that Pinkie tried to intervene, but essentially everything's going haywire.
Don't start throwing dessert in Mrs. Cake! I tried to help, but I got caught in the crossfire! Tasty crossfire. You sure this is just pre-coronation nerves?
And then Discord essentially walks up and basically drops the massive bombshell on us that...
All very well intentioned and noble, my part, of course.
Get to the point, Discord.
You remember that whole thing with King Sombra? That was slightly my fault, and by slightly I mean I brought him back.
You did? But why?
Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time, which is why I also brought back 3 other villains who are now on the loose and not really big fans of yours. So, my bad.
Yeah, and basically Discord telling us this code is, oh yeah, by the way, they know we're here and they're coming to kill us. So yeah, so you're probably wondering what exactly the motivation Discord did of doing all this in the first place, since since we now know that he was posing as Grogar, he was essentially the one that freed Cozy Glow and Pyrrha from Tartarus, stocked up Chrysalis from her man cave, and brought Sombron back to life. So essentially, the main six, Spike and Princess Celestia and Princess Luna, basically bring Discord to the throne room and basically asking why he did all of this in the first place.
Let me get this straight. You wanted to boost Twilight's confidence, so you brought back Chrysalis, Cozy Glow, and T-Rex to attack her?
Don't forget Sombra.
And while you united these three villains, you pretended to be Grogar?
Discord, how could you do this to Twilight and us?
So yes, this is why I wanted to hold off of the whole massive controversy with Discord and the whole Grogar incident. Basically, on the one hand, I am kind of annoyed that we don't really know much more about Grogar, and I would have loved to see it in action. At the same time, I can kind of understand Discord's motives, where essentially he wants him to bring confidence into Twilight. But the beauty about this entire scene and why it ends up working, you know how in episodes like What About Discord and A Matter of Principles, where he does these awful things and basically he doesn't get called out for it? Well, this episode basically finally retcons all that because Discord essentially gets called out for all this.
Look what a great job you did defeating Sombra. Oh, the confidence you gained. Remember the cheering, the hoof bumps?
Except it was all a lie.
A well-intentioned lie.
For all the time you spent with us, you really haven't picked up too much in the way of friendship lessons, huh?
You've been setting up challenges for us the whole time, haven't you? None of our successes were actually real.
Well, I think the Sombron one is justified, but I don't think he's been I think he only started to test her since now.
Of course they were. You just had an extremely good-looking safety net.
And how was that supposed to help again?
Well, I intended to prepare Twilight for anything by orchestrating an epic attack at her coronation.
You beastly beast! Don't you know how much this day means to Twilight? And me? I made her dress! Why wait until now for such a horrible plan?
You don't take a final exam on your first day of class. Just think, after defeating 3 baddies, Twilight would have to believe that she's the leader we all know she is.
Yeah, but, there's one teensy little problem with that, Discord. We basically see that you brought back 3 villains that are now able to handle them on their own, and fueled by hate and vengeance, and essentially causing all of Equestria to become paranoid. You basically kind of dropped the ball there. Like I said, unlike other episodes where he does a lot of these awful things, he did have good intentions this time around, but the good news is that he gets called out for this.
You have made a grave misjudgment, Discord. Do you have anything else you would like to tell us?
Actually, I do, because I have a pretty huge thing that I want to say to Discord.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if this dream team was never put together, the one you were right about, none of this bullshit would be happening! I'd be in bed right now! It's almost like all of this is entirely your goddamn fault!
Yeah, that's what I would have wanted to say to Discord, as he decides to give even bigger news.
All my chaos magic is gone.
Which is what we already knew.
Rogar's spell.
So what's the good news?
Chrysalis, T-Rex, and Cozy Glow now have all of the real Rogar's magic.
In what world is that good news?
I agree, Rainbow Dash. So essentially through flashback, we find out that Discord never really fully ran away. He actually stayed behind to actually hear what they were going on, but because he doesn't have chaos magic, he essentially basically interprets it, and basically he explains what exactly the trio's plan is.
Besides, we have plans. They think he's so busy being perfect, they haven't even noticed what we've been up to. Have I mentioned how great revenge is? Oh, I hope you got a name picked out for your future kingdom, because it's time to destroy Equestria.
So essentially, as I said, basically that whole plan is code for, they know we're here and they're coming to kill us.
They're probably on their way to attack Canterlot right now.
Then we
believe in you.
Yeah, it was only one success. So, anyways, basically Twilight says to send a message to Starscroll the Beard to be like a first-line defense, then asking Starlight to basically evacuate the Friendship School, since basically we know that essentially the Chrysalis wants to have a revenge on Starlight.
With Chrysalis on the loose, she'll go after Starlight. Warn Cadence and Shining Armor. They're our final line of defense if we fail. The ultimate battle for the fate of Equestria is coming.
This is going to be good. So then we basically cut back to the Legion of Doom, essentially, that are now all powerful, but we do get a little hints of nuggets of their potential downfall.
We're not going anywhere until you two stop arguing. Chrysalis, say something nice about T-Rex.
No, he's red.
T-Rex?
She's not as annoying as I expected.
Yeah, so even in spite of the teamwork the three of them have been doing for both Frenemies and the Summer Sun setback, it seems that the villains don't necessarily fully trust each other, and essentially there's still a bit of bickering. So in a way, Discord also counted for this.
Now we were talking about Rogar's spell.
We should take the magic inside it. You know how powerful Discord was. That much chaos magic in our veins.
But taking it all would be madness. It's impossible for any other creature to control.
So they decide to use Cozy Glow as a test, and for the kids, here's your nightmares for this week.
Now I have more power than all of you.
But we then discover that because it's Discord's chaos magic, not even Cozy Glow is able to control it, so essentially they don't really have much of a choice to use it.
I still think chaos magic is a good idea.
Leave it in the bell. We've got a kingdom to conquer.
So, where should we strike first?
Everywhere.
We faced enemies of Equestria before. And
So then we cut back to Camelot, where Twilight tries to give a motivational speech, and it does seem to be like on the right step.
Equestria is at stake. And I can't do this alone. But I'm not afraid. Because with friendship as our armor and teamwork as our power, no pony can ever bring us down. Oh, come on! Where'd you get that? A daily affirmations cap?
Shoot it now! Shoot it now!
I know it's not going to matter much, but yeah, given that we now get to see how powerful Cozy can be, now that she has alicorn magic.
Yeah. Cozy Glow? You're about to wipe the floor with you!
Worth it!
Wow, it's true. Alicorns really do have more fun.
So after the commercial break, we see that the Pillars of Friendship are essentially on standby, where they're basically going to have to stand by, and essentially they're about to face off against T-Rex. I think that's probably what everybody in the finale. And basically this is a one-sided fight where essentially T-Rex basically, through pretty awesome action, practically curb stomps the Pillar of Friendship now that he's at his full power, and ends up draining all their magic. We cut to the School of Friendship, where essentially with Trixie's help, Starlight is able to evacuate everybody as Chrysalis is ready to basically face off against her.
Where's Trixie? Starlight, Starbright, where's the pony I want to fight?
I have to go. You got this? No pony does a great and powerful escape like Trixie.
Just the head mare I want to see.
You didn't make enough.
It's pretty cheesy one-liners, but with this action scene, essentially she transports Chrysalis to another dimension, and I have to play this Naruto music over it because this essentially describes this battle.
Stay still so I can blast you.
Oh yeah, real motivated.
You'll pay for that.
Put it on my tab.
But even outsmarting her, Chrysalis ends up getting the upper hand on her and ends up cocooning her and flying away.
Now I'll have all eternity to take my revenge on you.
Well, then why don't you take it now? We then cut back to Canterlot, where we see essentially with Cozy's alicorn magic, the guards are still useless and eventually get their asses kicked. So Celestia and Luna try to fight off Cozy Glow, but with the Bewitching Bell, all that ends up happening is that their magic ends up getting absorbed.
That's the problem with you magic types. You're so reliant on all your special power, you forget to use your brain. Keep telling yourself that. Now!
So it would seem like that the main six would essentially still get the upper hand, even with the power of Cozy Glow, as they're able to still get a handle on her. And we do get a nice Wizard of Oz joke. And it seems like everything is under control, but...
Yeah, one of those days, am I right? Am I right, guys? It's one of those days. Because, this is pretty much the worst.
Yeah, I think Caboose summed it up perfectly.
You think your pathetic shield can stop us? The pillars have been defeated. Your school is abandoned. Face it, Twilight. You've lost.
You can attack us, and we may fall. But Equestria will still stand, united in friendship. And we won't stop until we defeat you, no matter how many ponies you take down.
Didn't you all notice something was wrong in Equestria? We've been busy.
A whisper here, a rumor there.
Destroy some crops, cause some damage.
Turn pony against pony.
Until your whole kingdom is on edge. Wait.
Yeah, that music of when Ruby encounters Mercury in RWBY Volume 3 as Pyrrha's about to face off against Penny. That basically describes this first part of this penultimate episode. My heart is basically beating a mile a minute from just watching this. It's probably not since Twilight Kingdom have I gotten this much adrenaline from watching. It is that good. Just seeing the villains seamlessly work together, even if it gives hints of them essentially about to fall apart, basically goes to show how organized they were to get all the ponies to turn on each other. So far, this first part, there's not really much to complain about, as essentially it's one big setup or in the culmination of what is going to be a pretty kick-ass part 2. And there's really nothing to be angry about, and there's just a lot of adrenaline for me to just kick myself into overdrive. I think really the only critique I would give this first part is essentially with the twist of Discord being Grogar. And like I said, even though he did have good intentions in a way for essentially releasing the villains in the first place to help Twilight gain more confidence, it essentially ultimately ends up backfiring severely, making it the entire thing his fault. And unlike previous episodes where he does similar behavior in, say, What About Discord or A Matter of Principles, he does get called out for it. So yeah, after just watching this first part, my adrenaline is so high right now that things look pretty bleak, and honestly, it makes me really excited to see part 2. And like I said, not since Twilight Kingdom have I gotten this much adrenaline. Honestly, other than the one severe nitpick, there's really nothing else, and it makes me all the more excited to see part 2. So yeah, so far, the ending of the end, part 1, despite the overall title being generally stupid, I think is a solid A episode. Oh my god, my heart is beating a mile a minute, and there's nothing else I can say, but I can't wait to see part 2. See you guys next time. Bye.